Now, the third piece that I want to talk about today is how do you think about the future? This one's super fun because we're building on your parenting perspectives and we're building on your education perspectives. And now we're working towards what's it all for? How is this going to serve them into the future? If you recall, I mentioned that I'm a communications expert and I speak at companies and give talks. And I recently led a workshop and a talk on clarity mapping. And it was really special to me because the whole organization participated in the experience of getting into this new conversation and using clarity mapping to facilitate it. Everyone got a playbook, the company had a playbook, and we got to get into this powerful conversation about the possibilities. The whole thing was to serve as entertainment, but it was also a training and development experience. I was given a blank slate and they told me that I could talk about whatever I wanted to talk about. Now, I think that was a little risky on their part, but I sat down and cleared my thoughts and I thought, what would be the most important thing to share with this company at this time? And I decided I wanted to deliver a specific kind of talk, and I called it Masters of Change. I talked about how nobody really knows what the world will look like in 20 years. So nobody knows what to focus on today. It's likely that most of what we currently do and how we do things will be irrelevant in 20 years. So, what should we focus on? My best advice came from Dr. Yuval, Yuval Noah Harari. He wrote the book Sapiens, A Brief History of Mankind. And when he was asked that question by a college student, this was his answer: focus on emotional intelligence and personal resilience. Traditionally, life had two main parts: a period of learning followed by a period of working. In that first part, you discover who you are to build a stable identity for yourself and also acquire personal and professional skills. In the second part, you rely on that identity and skills to navigate the world, earn a living, and contribute to society. Now, many futurist scholars agree that by 2040, this model will be obsolete. And the only way for us to stay in the game will be to keep learning throughout our lives and learn how to reinvent ourselves repeatedly, probably right up until retirement and even beyond. I have worked clarity maps with retirees, so I can tell you that's definitely true. Now, this quote from Dr. Harari: people will need the ability to learn all the time and reinvent themselves repeatedly. So, change, it can be stressful. And after a certain age, most people don't like it. This is not good news. I'm sure no one's excited about the fact that you're going to constantly need to be learning and constantly need to be reinventing yourself. For teenagers, when they're young, your entire life is about change. Your body, your mind, your relationships, everything's changing. Everything's in a state of fluctuation. You're busy inventing yourself, getting to know yourself for the first time. By the time you're all grown up, that starts to get old and you start to crave stability and predictability. But in this century, you won't be able to enjoy that luxury. We need to get really clear about that and how we're going to support our young people. So if you try to hold on to the stability in your identity and even your job, even your worldview, you will be left behind. You'll essentially be checking yourself out of the game of life and the world will pass you by. So, the skill that you will need the most, and that's most important to hone, is resilience and emotional balance. This will help you manage the seemingly never ending changes that will come your way and to deal with very high levels of stress. As parents, I'm sure the parents here watching this, I'm sure you're already experiencing the pressure of that. The problem is, it's pretty difficult to teach these skills. Teaching emotional intelligence, teaching resilience. This isn't a simple, straightforward process. It's pretty messy. So, it's something that we need to build in so we can practice that coming into adulthood. I think they call it adulting. We need to practice adulting. This isn't something that you can learn from a book, and the education system isn't particularly designed to develop people in this kind of viable, reinventive, resilient kind of way. So we can't trust what we're currently doing too much. Another quote from Dr. Harari: "Don't trust the adults too much." He goes on and says, "In the past, it was a safe bet to trust the adults because they knew the world quite well and the world changed slowly. But the 21st century is going to be different. Whatever the adults have learned about economics, politics, or relationships may be outdated. Similarly, don't trust technology too much either. You must make technology serve you instead of you serving it. If you aren't careful, technology will start to dictate your aims and enslave you to its agenda." Now, I know we can all agree with him there too. Whenever we know, whatever we know about how to do things, it's constantly changing. Everything is constantly being called into question. Methods, strategies, techniques can all become redundant and obsolete in a heartbeat because someone invented a new app for that. Most likely a teenager, right? So there is now an inherent trust in technology that we all need to be mindful of. Are you tired? There's a lot of great content out there to entertain us. Are you distracted? Are you craving real connection? So are our teens. We must keep technology in its proper place in our lives, the place where it serves us and not the other way around. Now, I promise I am working on something special that's right dialed into this idea of the digital age and technology. But for now, I'm just hoping to shift how you view the future and examine how skilled you are at handling change. I believe that if we're going to make it, we have no choice but to really get to know ourselves better, know who we are and what we want from life, what we want from our careers, what we want our kids to be empowered and skilled at handling. We want them to be able to handle change. Yes, this is probably the oldest advice that there is: know thyself. Yet this advice has never been more urgent and more relevant. Change is going to keep happening, there's no doubt. I'm bringing that up today in this talk because clarity mapping is about facilitating that curiosity about who you are. It's also about resilience and honing the skill of reinvention. When you know yourself and things start to shift, you can make some course corrections and readjust your framework and get right back to it. Clarity mapping aims to create masters of change. So it's really important to adapt to change by developing the skills of resilience and reinvention. Now, I have three questions for you about the future and how you think about change. On a scale of 1 to 10, where are you with your view of adapting to the changes that are happening? If you were to change your thinking in this area, what impact could it have? Can you commit to shifting your thinking in this area more?